Almost 24 hours have passed since we first learned of the atomic bomb and its use against the city of Japan. And even now, after hearing many times the description of this new weapon, its capabilities continue to tempt human imagination. Our senses reel in awe from the staggering import of this new advancement in science. Words written and spoken on the subject since the announcement first came from President Truman about 11 o'clock yesterday morning already are encyclopedic in volume. And yet the subject grows more interesting and fantastic with each new detail, however minute. What this new discovery can mean for a peacetime world, even though its commercial possibilities lie years, if not generations ahead, is almost beyond the comprehension of mere humans.
Enrico Fermi, after escaping fascist Germany, felt that the United States of America should be informed on the atomic technology at their fingertips. Fermi traveled to Washington in hopes to convince government officials to take on a project of this magnitude in order to keep this knowledge out of enemy hands. President Roosevelt did not see the need for such a project, but, recognizing Fermi's uneasiness, he agreed to proceed slowly. In late 1941, the Manhattan Project was born. A collection of many of the greatest technological minds of the century were set to meet in secret to design and build the atomic bomb for the United States government. Enrico Fermi's research was based in many universities, one of which was the University of Chicago. Many individuals were hired as the project began, but the project still needed a workplace to test the nuclear material. One member of the project was Ralph Lapps.
I was in charge of instrument development, Geiger counters, and technology associated with the bomb, based and working in Chicago. And I found a use for Stagg Field, which was a football field that Alonzo Stagg fielded back in the 30s. So here was the big sports arena, Stagg Field, on which there was no longer any football played.
After tireless research and many nuclear reactions later, Enrico Fermi and his team had successfully run a large-scale nuclear reactor under the grandstands of Stagg Field.
I mean, no one had run a nuclear reactor of this size before. Certainly the processing of plutonium from uranium had only been done at laboratory scale. And it was really one of the amazing tasks of the Chicago branch of the Manhattan Project that they scaled up from basically microsamples of plutonium and uranium to this enormous facility.
After this breakthrough, the project gained momentum with a surge of federal investment. But where would Fermi be placed to maximize his potential? The federal government looked to General Leslie Richard Groves Jr. to establish the new locations of the Manhattan Project.
General Groves had established a set of criteria for the several locations of the Manhattan Project. One, that the installations be at least 200 miles from a coast, because at that time it was not yet clear whether the Germans and the Japanese were going to be attacking the United States with intercontinental bombers, I suppose. And 200 miles was considered a sufficient distance, or with an aircraft carrier, to prevent a plane from reaching the site. You didn't want them bombing our bomb sites. And then, of course, he wanted isolation, and he wanted isolation for two reasons: to keep it a secret, and also in case something blew up.
It was decided. Los Alamos, New Mexico fit all the requirements, and it was here that the atomic bomb would be created. Enrico Fermi traveled to the location under the fake name Eugene Farmer. He and many others had officially disappeared and were now responsible for what they believed would be the outcome of the war.
When I knew Enrico, he was in his early 40s. He was one of the great minds of our century. He was quite unique in the physics area, by being not only a great experimentalist, but also a great theoretician. And he had numerous papers, which are landmark papers in both areas. In general, you have theoretical people like Einstein or Bohr, etc., or you have experimental people. And he was good in both, and which made it very, very interesting. For the most part, we were his, I mentioned the people previously that have been three of us, were his personal team for carrying out experiments that he was interested in, and we were all interested in. But Enrico had the position at Los Alamos of being scientific director, not the director, but head of the science, both theoretical and experimental.
After perfecting Enrico's reactions, the team was ready. It was finally time to begin the testing process. On July 16, 1945, the bomb was prepped and raised to be dropped at 5:30 that morning.
We laid on the ground, in the mud, whatever was there at the time, to face west, flat on the ground, put our heads down, close our eyes, cover our heads with our arms, and wait. And shortly thereafter, the brightest light I'd ever observed with my eyes closed that I'd ever seen. That was the detonation. But no noise and no sound. I know nothing to see until our troop master said we could look up, and we could get up, stand up, and look into this black abyss ahead of us. It was so, I think the lightning had passed by then, but there was this beautiful color of the bomb. Gorgeous. And the colors were roving in and out of our visual range, of course, and the neutrons, gamma rays, and all had gone by with the first flash while we were down that way. And there we stood gawking at this. Well, it turned out we were assigned there.
They had done it. The atomic bomb was now a reality for the United States and the war. Enrico Fermi and his team were successful in manipulating a small reaction to their atomic careers, ending with a bang. Enrico was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics, and then later died at the age of 53. Through the exploration of science and the exchange of information, he was truly able to prove that a small reaction can change the world.